Hello and welcome to the Connection Compass podcast. I'm your host, Andrea L Evans. Today I am reflecting on season 8 of the podcast and also my thoughts and feelings about moving out into the world with the Connection Compass that's taken 10 years to build. And if you're interested in the story and how it came about, I'm holding a live webinar on Wednesday, the 23rd of September at 8 p.m. GMT time. To join that, the details are in the show notes. Hello, it's Andrea here with episode 10 of season 8. Yes, I'm here by myself today, closing out the series, and what a series it has been. There has been some incredibly big conversations on the podcast over the past few weeks, and ones that have completely blown my mind, and there's been lots of laughs and pre-recording chat conversations that I'm so grateful for, and meeting people on the podcast across the world is just a dream come true, really. And to find connection in personal stories, and as I say over and over again many times on the podcast, I hope that you're listening out there and that you're finding connection in those conversations as well, even though you may not have first thought that an episode was meant for you, that you just heard something to help you on your way. It's been what can I say? Just a huge time over the past couple of months. I think you might have heard me say that I entered into a new coaching group with Andrea, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago. And things have just moved forward so much more than I could ever have envisaged over the past few weeks. It feels like I'm in a whirlwind. It feels like I'm in a pinch me moment, because it's taken so long of that work around connection to come into a physical form that I could explain to people. And to be here is just unbelievable. And the podcast has become, not the podcast, sorry, the compass has become far bigger than what I ever could have imagined. And I keep thinking, oh my gosh, I created this. This all started with one small idea in 2017 that has grown and grown and grown tentacles and arms and legs and gone off in different tangents and has caused so much confusion that I just can't believe I'm here. And I hope that people are able to come to the live webinar on Wednesday, the 23rd of September at 8 p.m. GMT time, and just listen to the story and how the compass itself is shape shifted over the years through periods of expansion and contraction, really. And yeah, it's crazy. I have to admit that as this work has started to manifest and come into being and starting to move out into the world, I have felt quite a lot of anxiety, actually. And I think it's because I can no longer hide that intuitive part of myself, the part of myself that I tend to keep for myself. I don't tend to put that part of me out there into the fore, and it feels such a vulnerability going out into the world with it and not being able to hide that. So I think that's playing out for me at the moment. And also, it's such a big thing having this piece of work for 10 years. And even though, if you look at Instagram, you can see, or I can see that I've been working on different elements of the compass and posting it to Instagram, but being able to go out there in its final format and being able to talk about it feels really big, feels really daunting. One of the good things is that I'm able to talk about it with ease. I absolutely understand every single element that needs to go, that every single element and why it's in the place that it is. And when I talk about it, it feels quite tight. It feels quite foundational and unmovable. So that's good. That's good. It makes me feel confident, more confident in the work. I think one of the hardest things about doing the work over the years, putting something together, is being in those rooms where I haven't been able to explain exactly what I'm creating. I knew that I've been creating something, I had the vision, but not being able to explain that has been really difficult for me and ate away at my confidence and my ability and what I was doing, because my world of work, it's very illogical. You can explain things with ease. You just have to learn about something. But with the compass, I've been learning it has unfolded, and it hasn't been a linear journey. It's not been one of logic. I'm over here one minute working on the seasons and the nature and our connection to nature, and the next thing I'm working on doing some deep inner heart work. And I suppose the thing about the anxiety is that I have a choice here. There is always a choice. I feel in society that we see a lot of disempowerment and people being told that they don't have choices, but they absolutely do. And we always have a choice. We have a choice how to approach something. We have a choice how to think and feel about it. And I can get up each day and I can choose to be in a place of fear and anxiety, or I can choose to be in a place of calm and, say, look, Andrea, I've been okay the past 10 years. You're going to be okay for the next 10 years. Whatever unfolds, however this work wants to go out and be in the world, it's going to be okay. And you've got those skills. So there's always a choice. And to bring this work into the world, I've had to live it, I've had to feel it, I've had to understand it, I've had to get to know it, what has worked, what hasn't worked, what felt right, what hasn't felt right. Really lots of intuitive thought, feeling, having an idea, running with it, and then realizing a couple of weeks down the line, this just doesn't fit. And that's also been quite frustrating too. But I don't think any of it's wasted. I think everything that I've got has a part to play in this journey. So whether it was about learning something that hasn't worked and why it hasn't worked, why something has worked, why we need that element of the connection compass, is it's been fundamental in bringing it together. And I feel very protective of the compass. I really do. And it feels heart work to me. It feels a sacred piece of work, whatever that might mean to you, but it feels quite special. I want to hold it close, and I think the only way to experience the compass is to be open to it, is to trust in the unknown, which we're not very good at trusting the unknown. I don't think in society we like to have control because control feels really safe, and sometimes we just have to let that caution to the wind and just see what happens, see where it takes us, see where we learn. And I do believe that for anyone that is really struggling at the moment, if you're stuck, if you're going through the motions, and I have to say at this point that there's nothing wrong in going through the motions as such, but if you know inside that something isn't quite right, you just don't know what, or you're going around in circles, you're hitting brick walls, I am 100% certain that the compass has an answer for you. Often in our modern day world, we very much focus on the physical, mental, and emotional aspects of ourselves. And we like to lean into science, and science is important. Science is good. Elements of the compass are science informed, but there's also a part of life that we can't explain, that we don't know why things happen, they just do. And the compass is there for that, to answer the questions that we've been struggling with or the situations. It supports us to lean into that spiritual aspect of ourselves and the deeper elements of ourselves, and being open to looking at our lives through different lenses, and that we're so much more than our skin, that we are very deep, complex, beautiful human beings, and we're there to honor ourselves and learn to care for ourselves in the way that we need, and nourish and do things that motivate us and excite us and leave us feeling fulfilled in our friendships and our relationships. I know that having worked with my friends with the compass and also doing some intuitive readings, certainly an element that has come up quite a lot. And it also came up in the bonus episode as well, where I did the intuitive themes for August, that this topic of the masculine and the feminine keeps coming up, balancing those energies within so that the energies outside of us are balanced too. It's this yin and the yang. And I think that's really important to get these energies to work together. And certainly the compass does that through at several different stages, actually, but particularly with working and connecting with nature and seasons and the cycles of seasons and moon as well. And so, certainly, the reason why nature is so important is because when we are discombobulated, when we're not really sure where we are, when we feel a little bit lost, sometimes it can be difficult to anchor into ourselves, or if we're feeling anxious all the time, if we are feel a little bit chaotic, it's very, very difficult to anchor into ourselves. So what nature does is to help us to ground down, to become calm, to create a foundation that we can work from. And because things like the seasons and the cycles of moon, they're cyclical, as you start to work with them in that cyclical nature, you start to build trust and faith in life. And then once you've got that trust and faith in life, we can start to anchor those elements into ourselves. So basically, when we work with nature, cycles of the seasons, cycles of the moon, it can support us to move into a rhythm in life that works for us and keeps us nice and balanced and grounded. It creates a foundation to work from. The weekend that's just gone, I didn't feel great at all. I've had a very, very busy week, felt a little bit chaotic, very anxious. The weather was absolutely gorgeous. I've spent quite a lot of time outside and I'm really feeling myself start to come back into myself, into my body, feeling a bit calmer, feeling a bit more relaxed. So I hope you can join me on Wednesday, the 23rd of September for the live webinar. I'm not going to record it. But you'll get to see how this work, this connection compass is evolved over the years, learn what I experienced, what I discovered as I was building the compass. I'd love it for you to join me. And if you'd like to do that, the details are in the show notes along with the intuitive guidance sessions that are now available too. So, short episode today. Didn't want to go into too much detail. Obviously, I did that bonus episode on Friday, completely forgetting that I was to do an episode this week as well. But next week, we're back to conversations. So join us then every Wednesday. Episode is usually out at 7:15 on a Wednesday morning. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Connection Compass. If you think this episode will help somebody else, please leave a review. And remember, if you're interested in the live webinar, you can sign up by checking the show notes. And finally, keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world. See you next time.